Google has reached a deal with the Canadian government to keep sharing Canadian news content on its platforms, avoiding a potential ban under the Online News Act. The agreement, announced on Wednesday, will see Google pay 100 million Canadian dollars, $73.5 million US, a year to a fund that will be distributed to eligible news publishers in Canada. The deal comes after months of negotiations between Google and the federal government over the controversial legislation, also known as Bill C-18, which requires digital platforms to compensate news publishers for their work. The law, which is expected to come into force by mid-December, aims to address the imbalance of power and revenue between the tech giants and the news industry. Google had previously threatened to block Canadian news content on its platforms, such as Search, News, and Discover, if the law was implemented. The company argued that the law was unfair, unworkable, and would harm the free and open web. Google also objected to the mandatory negotiation model and the arbitration process under the law, preferring to deal with a single point of contact. Under the agreement, Google will have the option to work with a single collective that will represent all interested news publishers in Canada, and distribute its contribution based on the number of full-time equivalent journalists employed by those publishers. The agreement also addresses some of Google's concerns about the regulatory framework and the exemption process under the law. We are pleased that the Government of Canada has committed to addressing our core issues with Bill C-18, said Kent Walker, Google's President of Global Affairs, in a statement. While we work with the government through the exemption process based on the regulations that will be published shortly, we will continue sending valuable traffic to Canadian publishers. Heritage Minister Pascale Stange, who spearheaded the law, praised the deal as a win for Canadian journalism and democracy. She said the agreement will ensure that Canadian news publishers are fairly compensated for their work and that Canadians have access to diverse and quality news content online. Many doubted that we would be successful, but I was confident we would find a way to address Google's concerns, she said. This agreement is a testament to our determination to protect and promote our cultural and media sectors, and to uphold the principles of net neutrality and freedom of expression. The deal with Google is different from the one reached by Meta, formerly known as Facebook, which decided to pull all news content from its platforms in Canada in response to the law. Meta announced its decision in June and implemented it in August, sparking criticism from the government and the news industry. Meta said the law was unworkable and would force it to pay for content that it does not take or ask for. The Online News Act is modeled after similar laws in Australia and France, which have also sought to make digital platforms pay for news content. The law is part of the federal government's broader strategy to modernize the broadcasting and telecommunications sectors, and to support the recovery and sustainability of the Canadian news industry.